Ex Machina 2014. Genius falls in love with a robot, but soon finds out the harsh truth about her. Hello people, welcome to today's movie recap. For our movie today, we have 2014's American science fiction movie called Ex Machina. As always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Let's get on with it. The movie begins with Caleb Smith, a hard-working programmer working at a well-known search engine company known as Blue Book. He is on his computer when he unexpectedly wins a draw for a week's visit to a luxurious, isolated island of the Blue Book CEO Nathan Bateman. All his co-workers congratulate him for it, and he embarks on a helicopter to visit the isolated home of Nathan Bateman in a faraway place, a home situated nearby a waterfall and a large forest. Freaked out and surprised by the overwhelming event, he's greeted by Nathan, a simplistic genius and possibly Drake's impersonator. They quickly become acquainted with each other as Nathan wants to drop the formalities since Caleb is going to spend a week-long stay at his home. As Nathan shows Caleb around, they get to the point where Caleb seemed confused at the building's weird structure, to which Nathan reveals to him that the isolated home isn't a home, but instead, it's a research facility meant to contain secrets from any physical and electrical acquisition. A research facility built around Nathan's artificial intelligence research, artificial intelligence that he calls Ava. In fact, Caleb's visit is to be of assistance to Nathan about Ava, while not disclosing any information about the research. After asking Caleb if he is familiar with the Turing test, a test to determine Ava's human-like properties, Nathan tells Caleb that he wants him to judge whether Ava is genuinely capable of thought and consciousness despite knowing she is artificial. Moreover, the test will be passed if Caleb overlooks Ava's artificial background and starts seeing the robot as human. Caleb meets Ava for their first session together, while Nathan observes them through a monitor, and to Caleb's surprise, Ava looks human, sounds like a human, and thinks like a human, despite her machine-like properties. This fascinated Caleb with Ava, and in that first session, Ava and Caleb had formed a bond through conversations. Later, during Caleb's time with Nathan, he starts asking about Ava's artificial structure, which to his dismay, Nathan refused to explain. But instead, Nathan asks Caleb to tell him how he feels about her, a question he wants to be answered genuinely. Caleb replies that Ava is freaking amazing. That same night, Caleb grabs a remote to watch TV in order to fall asleep, but what seemed to be a normal remote turned out to be the surveillance camera remote for Ava's room. Caleb then sees Ava, who surprisingly had the ability to cause a power outage, though the power outage locked his bedroom door. But Caleb manages to slip out through a private room where he meets Nathan, drinking. He explained what happened, and Nathan reveals that he has been trying to solve the power outage, and that the building's security system locked the doors during one. The next morning, Caleb is awoken by Nathan's maid, Kyoko, who to his description was human, but incapable of speaking English. The Turing test continues, with Nathan advising Caleb to find out how Ava feels about Caleb. Caleb begins to feel attracted to Ava. This helped Nathan settle on a mutual friendship with Ava, to the point where Ava starts asking Nathan personal questions, including Nathan's car crash that caused the death of his parents at 15. She seems to reciprocate these Nathan feelings with back-to-back conversation, and also expresses deep curiosity for human nature and to experience the outside world. As they're talking, Ava triggers a power outage that temporarily shut down all of Nathan's surveillance cameras, used to monitor their interactions, allowing them to speak freely. At this moment did Ava reveals that Nathan is not someone that Caleb should trust, both through his words and as a friend. With the right timing, the power went back on, and Ava seemed to return to normal, not wanting Caleb to know what they had talked about. Moving on with new insight, Caleb starts seeing Nathan's real behavior, as a narcissistic drunkard who bears a lustful yet cruel interaction towards Kyoko and Ava. So, when Nathan asked Caleb about what they talked about during the power outage, Caleb never revealed his conversation with Ava that occurred during the power outage, which he does not know the cause of. Due to this, Nathan became more aware of Ava and warier of Caleb. One day, Nathan brings Caleb to a lab filled with cybernetic technologies, where he finds out that the Blue Book itself was used to build Ava, and that it's unique from other search engines as it was adaptive. Ava and Caleb continue their session, with them growing dangerously closer to each other as Caleb shares more of the outside world. Ava, who wanted to blend in, tried to show Caleb how she would dress, and this mesmerized Caleb. At this point, both are showing love interest towards each other. The next day, Caleb gets curious about whether Ava is capable of love touches, and Nathan reveals that she is, but that Ava in no way was programmed to flirt with Caleb, and that Ava's artificial intelligence decides for itself. In the next session, Caleb compares Ava to Mary in the black and white room, where Mary is a person who knew everything about colors, yet she lives in a black and white room her entire life. But the moment she sees the real colors, she never knew how it felt, despite her vast knowledge. He compared Mary to a computer when she was in the room, but a human when she walked out. At this moment, Ava once again cuts the power and reveals it to Caleb, wishing that she wanted to know how they'd both act without anyone watching them. The next day, Caleb suddenly sees in the surveillance cameras that Nathan had entered Ava's room, and when he questioned Kyoko about where Nathan had been, she starts undressing like she was programmed to. Nathan finds him, but pays no heed to it, and passes off drunk. However, in the next session, Ava finally confesses to Caleb, wishing to be together, but Caleb is yet to give a reply. It was then that he learned that Nathan intends to use Ava as a stepping stone for evolution, deleting her memories in the process, thus killing the current Ava, in order to rewrite her to become better. Of course, this did not sit well with Caleb. That night, after tricking Nathan to drink until he is passed out, Caleb grabs the opportunity and steals his access card to gain entry to his room and computer. He starts altercating some of Nathan's code, but Caleb discovers footage of Nathan with previous Android models, learning that Ava is the fruit of the success of multiple failed ones that turned aggressive, and one of them is Kyoko. He even soon finds out that all the failed androids had become Nathan's toys. Nathan wakes up, but Caleb was right on time, as he played off the keycard by pretending that Nathan dropped it. With this new discovery, Caleb realizes that he himself may no longer be human, but after cutting his flesh, he confirms that he is human. At their next meeting, Ava cuts the power. This gave Caleb the opportunity to reveal everything to Ava, including her reprogramming, and Ava wanted to get out. They collaborate and formulated a plan where Caleb will once again get Nathan drunk and passed out. When Ava overloads the power again, the doors would now remain open thanks to Caleb, and the two would finally be able to leave together. Unfortunately, Caleb's plan is busted as Nathan, who had already been cautious, declines the offer to drink. Nathan revealed to Caleb that he had heard Caleb's and Ava's last secret conversation with a camera that is battery-powered, including Caleb's antics. He tries to convince Caleb that Ava is merely using him as means of escape. Bravo and Caleb for passing the test, a test to make Ava the ultimate AI. Ava then proceeds to cut the power, but to Nathan's surprise, Caleb had already set the security system to open locked doors. Then Nathan knocks Caleb out and chases after Ava. However, with help from Kyoko, who had gained consciousness, Ava stabs Nathan with a knife. Even so, he still managed to destroy Kyoko and injure Ava. Nathan slowly bled out, and Ava enters his bedroom, where she sees the failed androids. She used their parts to repair herself and cover up her skin with human-like fibers. eventually looking like a real female human. She wears a wig, a dress, a high-heeled shoes to take on the appearance of a typical human woman. But in the end, as she leaves the facility, she leaves Caleb inside Nathan's locked surveillance room, leaving him to die, and making Nathan right all along, as Caleb was indeed manipulated by Ava. Ava manages to escape the facility through the helicopter, eventually arriving in a human city, where she blends into a crowd, only to start her new life as a human being. Thanks for watching. That's the movie Ex Machina from 2014. We truly hope that you like this recap, and if so, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. With that, we wish you a nice day.